name is Commissioner Frank Avila. I'm a commissioner at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And today I have the Lutheran Church Charity with me, and they have a department that is called the LCC K-9 Comfort Dog, and it brings comfort and love to those in need. And with me, I have Tim. Hi, Tim, for having a show.
Hi, Frank.
And Tim is the president of the Charity Lutheran Church. And I have also with me Rich Martin. Rich is a handler for Ruthie.
Ruthie.
And Ruthie, thanks for being on my show, Ruthie. Appreciate it. And you know, my wife and I, we signed up to be a handler for the
LCC, K-9
LCC,
Comfort Dog Ministry.
K-9 Comfort Dog Ministry. Yep. And Sherry said we should bring you on the show and introduce you and what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that, Frank.
And thanks for being on the show. Now, you know what is the LCC mission?
Well, our mission is to show mercy, compassion, presence, and proclamation of Jesus Christ to those who suffer and are in need. And so we go out where there's crisis or tragedy situations, or hospitals, nursing homes, hospice, wherever we're invited. Yeah. And we only go where we're invited. Yeah. And we are there to bring a calming influence upon people that are going through various life issues. Yeah. And the dogs help do that. We listen to people, and we touch people, and we help people, hopefully in a emotional and spiritual way, to come through what it is that they're going through. And that's the whole nature of our comfort dog ministry.
Yeah, so when they invite you, they're really not inviting you, they're inviting your K-9 comfort dog.
That's right. That is correct.
Right,
they're inviting the dogs.
Yes.
And our dogs go out across all over the country because of we're in 26 states as it is.
26 states?
Soon to be 29, wow. And over 130 dogs, Frank. So
interesting. Yeah. And so you are you're involved here since your home is in Illinois.
Correct.
So you're in the state of Illinois.
We're very well into the state of Illinois, and East Coast, West Coast, and in between. Texas, we got, 10 dogs, Rich, in Texas?
10 dogs? Oh.
10 dogs in the state of Texas, Wisconsin, like I said, most of the states, and we continue to grow, which is yes. Our challenge, yes. To train the dogs to meet the demand of people that want comfort dogs at churches, schools, or universities.
Yes. Now, why do you think there's a need for a comfort dog ministry?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, Frank, but the world's kind of screwed up.
Is it?
And the country, and with just things going on, and that effect leads to a lot of people that are hopeless.
Yes.
A lot of young children that are hopeless, that even commit suicide.
Yeah.
Adults, nobody knows what's truth anymore. I mean, it's just, it's mad.
Yes.
And because of all that, people act out in unhealthy ways.
Yes.
And they need somebody to listen to them. You know what? One of the #1 problems with people is it's loneliness.
Loneliness?
And you would think, would never guess that with social media and everything else out there. But you know, it's so easy to isolate, even though you're texting everything else, and just feel alone and have no touch and have no interaction with another human being. And see, the dogs bring qualities that each of us wish we had. The dogs are wonderful listeners. They're confidential.
Ruthie, yes.
They don't take notes. They're non-judgmental. Now, Frank, how many friends you have that have all 4 of those qualities at the same time?
It's very hard to have those qualities. Very difficult.
Mm-hmm. And see, the dogs bring that. And so we see, Frank, a lot of times people will talk to the dog before they'll talk to a human.
Interesting.
Because they're safe. Yeah. They'll pick up the ear of the dog. Rich has seen this so many times. Pick up the ear of the dog and they'll whisper into the dog.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And they'll get the dog because each of our dogs have their own business card with their
Yes, yeah,
picture on
yeah,
it and their own Facebook, email, and Twitter account. But that dog becomes a friend. You know, I was with a teacher last night. She
Yes.
teaches 6th grade.
Okay.
And I was with her last night, and our dogs had visited her classroom. There was a crisis that had gone on into the school.
Yeah.
Our dogs came out, visited the classroom, and because there was a crisis, we usually give each of the kids, if they've been affected by it, a stuffed dog.
Oh, yeah.
She said, now this was a couple years ago where this happened.
Yeah.
These kids still take that stuffed dog, bring it to school every day,
Interesting.
and they take it home at night. The only thing, she won't let them take it to lunch because she doesn't want them to get it dirty. They have named their dogs. But it's kind of like the security blanket from having the comfort dog, but now they can carry it with them.
And it's called the LCC
K-9
K-9
Comfort Dog Ministry.
Now, when did it start?
Well, you know, technically it started in August of 2008.
August 2000.
But God was working on us way back with Katrina. When Katrina came, because we do disaster response work, we were asked by FEMA to do search and rescue of people and their pets that were trapped on top of their house.
Yes.
And at that time, we saw the value of a pet with a person in crisis or disaster. Now, long story short, we knew some people that had golden retrievers that were our disaster response volunteers, and they brought out dogs. But it was February 14th, 2008 when the shootings were at Northern.
Yes.
And we were asked to come in with dogs. Well, we didn't have any dogs, but we had access to some.
Yeah.
In May, the students invited us back, and that's when God hit me on the head and said, start doing this, put dogs in churches, schools, universities to bring comfort, and don't wait for a shooting. So we started with 4 dogs in August of 2008, and now we are at 130 plus. I can't count how many, 130 plus dogs. We have more dogs
New
coming
dogs
in, a
coming
couple
every
new, in a couple weeks. I keep track of how many states we're in.
Well, you know, I belong with St. Andrew's Lutheran Church in Park Ridge, and we're getting a dog.
Yeah.
And my wife Sherry and I, we signed up to be a handler and a secondary caretaker.
Okay.
And we're going to go training in June for about a week, how to handle a comfort canine dog.
So you're getting a tool to connect with people, to help people.
Yes.
That's exactly what it's about.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Well, and I think a unique thing about the ministry that we do, Frank, is that our dogs are trained to work with multiple handlers. So it's not a person who owns a dog and they go out on their schedule.
Yes.
The dog is trained to work with multiple handlers that we train, so the dog can go out every day.
And that's the key, I think.
Oh, it keeps the dog busy, and it impacts more lives that way.
And you know what? No one really think that this LCC K-9 Comfort Dog is working.
This is their working position.
Right.
Now, I know that people that sleep at work, but this is the dog's working position because it's safe.
Yes.
You know, nobody wants to pet an aggressive dog that's jumping on you or barking or anything like that. They want comfort.
And they hug them.
Lay on
Pet
them.
'em.
It's their
Almost
A1
the kids.
comfort position, I tell
Yes,
people.
yes. Because last night I was at Oakton Community College. They were there from 6 to 8 in the cafeteria, and the kids were coming in, sitting down with the dog, hugging them, just sitting, petting them, and everyone was relaxed.
Well, and you were invited in
Yeah.
with the dogs
Yes.
to de-stress the kids, right?
Yes.
Well, did it work?
Oh, it worked. The kids were really, calm, happy, smiling. All ages too. Adults, all ages go to community college, and we had all ages coming and being relaxed with the dog.
It's always fun to see people when they turn the corner and they see dogs in a place they least expect it, whether it's a cafeteria or the airport. We do a lot of de-stressing at O'Hare Airport at busy times of the year, and for people that are stressed trying to catch their flight or get through security, and then to see half a dozen golden retrievers, it just changes their whole attitude.
And the dog with Tobias
Yep.
and Julie.
Mm-hmm.
They,
Two of our dogs.
yes, excellent, excellent.
So we go out in those places, Frank, but then also, and I wish we didn't have any crisis and disasters to go out to,
Yeah.
but that has tripled this last year, the number of crises and disasters across the United States that we've been out to. Rich, just in the last month, what are some of the things that we've been out to?
I'll give you a snapshot of the last 6 months,
Yes.
because at the end of the year, we started in Thousand Oaks, California. There was a shooting at the Borderline Club in Thousand Oaks, California.
Yeah.
We went out there for that, and then found ourselves in the middle of all the fires in
Oh,
Southern
yes, yes,
California,
right,
Malibu. They closed
Yes.
Highway 101,
Yeah.
and so we did a lot of ministry
Yeah.
out there. And then at the same time in November, we had the Mercy Hospital shootings here in
Yes, yes,
Chicago.
yes.
So we worked a lot with first responders and all the call takers down at the OEMC in Chicago.
Yes.
And then again, the beginning of this year has just been a terrible year for law enforcement. So we've been 3 Illinois state troopers that were struck and killed, doing what they do,
Yes.
and protecting lives and saving lives on the highway.
Yeah,
And the Aurora, the Henry
yeah.
Pratt plant shooting.
Yes,
Right after that, we were in a half a dozen schools the first day, and over a dozen schools that week that were close to the plant, where kids were anxious, worried about going back to school. Parents were worried about them getting back to school. And then we worked with the law enforcement officers in the Aurora Police Department, worked with all the employees at Henry Pratt plant in the days, weeks, and months since. And so it just, no shortage of pain and suffering in the world,
Yeah.
as Tim said, and the dogs are recognized, they're calm,
Yeah.
their handlers are well-trained.
yes. Oh, yes,
Um,
well, yeah, last night you had 2 handlers there. You had a handler and
A ministry partner.
Yeah,
Mhm.
ministry partner there.
Yeah.
And they had their cards
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
pass out their cards for them.
We don't do that to be cute, though. The Facebook page, email, and Twitter is so that anyone who touches a dog gets a card,
Yeah,
and they can like the dog. But people will talk to a dog
Yes.
like it's a counselor. And so we humans have to respond back to the people that are
Sure.
talking with the dog. But it will also, it gives that, we get many times, they through Facebook or whatever
Yeah.
say, my grandmother just went into hospice.
yeah,
Could you bring a dog over?
yeah,
And we do that.
yes.
We honor it, and we try to, like in any crisis, disaster,
Yeah.
we try to put boots and paws on the ground within 24 hours of being
Excellent.
invited.
You know what, last night when I went to the Oakton Community College, after that, I went over to Glenview Hospital. And there's a friend of ours that does laughing. And they had a person from the emergency, the drama section, in there that wanted her to go up and do laughing with their staff up there. And you were mentioning that one of the state troopers
Right.
was in that hospital, and you had one of the LLC Comfort K-9 dogs there.
Very, very stressful time.
Very stressful time, and so here, an emergency, people working in emergency needs the Comfort dog.
911 operators.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always go to those who serve.
Yeah.
Those who serve.
Yes, yes.
And so, and they carry a lot of that stress, and a lot of times they can't spend time with a dog immediately because they're still working a crime
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
They're still
Sure.
doing it. But it's a week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks after. And then it's, can you come in 3 months later, 4 months later, because they carry that. That's part of their job, but they just need to relax. And we use retired police officers, retired veterans to go out, because a lot of times police officers will not really open up and kind of talk unless it's another police officer.
Interesting. So your handlers are police handlers that will go to police,
Specifically to work
police.
with law enforcement.
and they got
Work with the
veterans
families.
handlers will go to the veterans group.
That's right.
Hines, Jesse Brown,
Yeah.
Lovell, military
Yeah.
stand-downs, yellow ribbon events.
Yeah, you know, we went to an affair, Sherry and I, with one of your handlers, and he was a veteran. And he was telling us that when he went to the VA Heinz Hospital, one of the veterans that was there started crying and opened up. And he says, I never told anyone what I did in Vietnam.
Yep.
And he opened it up and he was crying, and the dog made him comfort, and he opened up there. And it was very touching of what your veteran handler was saying,
Yep.
of what the dog affected this one veteran, just to open up there.
The dog was the bridge, the handler was the connection,
Yes, yes.
and showing unconditional love,
Yes, unconditional love.
non-judgmental,
Yes, yes.
and just being a loving person and supportive of somebody else.
Yes.
That's, Frank, that's what it's about. And that's what the world needs, and it would be healthier for the world
Oh, yes.
if we
Elsie,
started
yes.
treating people like people, like
Yes,
brothers and
yes,
sisters.
yes, yes.
And that's got to start somewhere. And I thank God
Yeah.
that He gives us animals, particularly golden
yes,
retrievers,
Yes,
to teach people
yeah.
how we should treat one another.
A golden retriever. Yes. Okay.
They're loving.
Now, if a person watching this show and think, oh, I like to partner with you, with LCC, see, how can they do this?
One of our greatest needs, Frank, is what we call apprentice trainers. And we have professional trainers
yeah.
that train the dogs, but apprentice trainers are volunteers, and we provide the dog, we provide the dog food, we provide veterinary care, all that, so there's no cost in person. And we partner two apprentice trainers,
Yes.
with a dog at 8 weeks,
8 weeks?
8 weeks and older, and to train the dog, and we train them to help them train the dog.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and we
it.
do that through, that way the dog learns multiple handlers. And
Yeah.
so you'll have a dog maybe a week,
Yeah.
and then your partner have
Yeah.
it for a week, and then you'll have
Yeah.
it for a week, so you can still go on vacation and
Yeah,
do other
yeah.
things.
Interesting.
Apprentice trainers, because of the demand
Yes.
and the waiting list for dogs, we desperately need
The-
apprentice trainers.
And what are the qualifications for an apprentice trainer?
Well, first of all, you gotta love dogs, you gotta
Love
love people.
Love that.
You gotta be able to know that it takes some work. It's
Yeah.
like being a parent, it takes some work.
Yeah,
And to be able to want to be part of something in its training form that is going to literally touch thousands of
Yeah,
lives. And you get to see that happen.
yeah. That's like I mentioned, my wife Sherry and myself. We are going to go about 4 or 5 days training all day in June before we
That's to be a handler.
a handler. Yes,
Yep.
and so we're going to go for just to be a handler, and they're going to teach us how to handle when we go out on a LCC K-9 comfort.
But it's
dog.
not just how to handle a dog. Training dogs is the easy part.
Yeah.
It's training people.
Training me. Yeah.
Training people to listen,
Yeah.
to listen,
Yeah.
to show compassion,
Yeah.
mercy with people, to be non-judgmental, and to love people as Jesus would.
Yeah. And we're going. I'm going to go to all day Saturday this weekend. They have a regional meeting up in Arlington Heights,
Regional, yep.
and so I'm going to go to, from 9 to 2:30 or 4. We're going to have this meeting, and we're going to meet all the people that's in our area, in our region, and they're going to have this meeting.
All the dogs too.
Yeah, all the.
People and dogs.
Yeah, and then you also have a conference every year.
Yep.
There, and I brought my granddaughter last year.
Oh, really?
And I don't know how many dogs, but you had maybe 100 dogs there. And she met every LCC Comfort K-9 dog.
Probably got a card from each one too,
card for
didn't
each
she?
one. And now we're going to go again because she asked me, let's go again. So can you tell the audience when your Comfort meeting is at and when they have the meet and greet? Because that is a special thing for the community, for anyone to come and meet and greet the LCC.
So this is our 8th year, our
Eighth year?
eighth annual K-9 conference. Our first one started out at St. Matthew's Lutheran Church in Barrington, Illinois. It's very small property and a very kind of modest
Yeah,
group, maybe 60 humans and 40 dogs.
Yeah.
And now in our 8th year, we'll have over 500 humans,
Well, yeah.
handlers and ministry partners, people from our affiliates from all over the country,
yeah.
and over 100 of our golden
Yes,
retrievers, and some of our golden retrievers in training. It's always the last Thursday and Friday of July every year.
Yes, yes.
And this year, our what we call our meet and greet, where the public can come
Yes.
in and check out all the dogs that have traveled in from around the country, is going to be on Wednesday.
On Wednesday?
On Wednesday, July
Yeah.
24th.
July, at what time?
And we're probably going to start about 6:30.
6:30,
But on your screen, you'll have our website,
Okay, sure.
lutheranchurchcharities.org.
Yeah, you hear that
And
now?
You can check out the page.
And it's at the Hilton
And as
We're
we,
right
in
across from-
Northbrook.
It's right
Hilton
across
in
from your-
Northbrook.
Hilton,
Yeah.
Chicago, Northbrook, right on Milwaukee Avenue.
Right, right. Yeah, and my daughter, well, there were a lot of kids there.
Yep.
And my granddaughter had a great time. I mean,
How about you?
I had a good time too. I think we took pictures with every dog because she wanted to take a picture with all of them.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was great for the kids, great for the adults, great for seniors, great for everyone, just to come and see and meet an LCC K-9 comfort dog.
You know, Frank, we have people that fly in from out of state just for the meet and greet.
Oh,
Can you believe that?
Yeah, interesting.
They're comfort dog junkies, I think.
I did want to get back to the apprentice trainers for
Yeah,
1 second.
yeah.
So as Tim said, you train with a partner.
You train with a
So
partner.
you don't have the dog full-time, you'll have it for a week, and then you come to class once a week with your partner. You learn and get a lesson plan for the next week and come back and demonstrate the next week, and then you switch dogs.
I see.
So if you have, personal schedule, a vacation planned or something, you have a partner. And it's a real community because the classes themselves are all about people. So it's not just about training the dog, but it's about each other and being in community with each other and sharing a devotion and a prayer with each other. So it's an amazingly rewarding opportunity. We've had some people do it now for the last 6 years, 7 years. They've produced half a dozen dogs or more that are now out that they can follow on Facebook all across America.
Actually, that's good. So to hear it out there, if you want to train an LCC K-9 comfort dog,
Go to the website,
Go to the website.
lutheranchurchcharities.org. Go to the K-9 page, and there's a box on there. You can click on Apprentice Trainer.
that's now. And as you mentioned, you go to anywhere, any type that you're invited.
That's
right?
correct.
And they would look on your website. You have a phone number to call.
We have a box right on the website, request a visit, or if it's an emergency. So if it's a death or a fire or something that demands immediate attention, there's a box on there for an emergency site visit. Hospice would be another another case where you'd fill out an emergency
yes,
site visit,
yes.
and then we process. We get it right away. We get it right to our phones, so
That's true.
we're on it.
One other important thing.
Yes.
We never charge those we serve.
Never charge. Well,
Yeah, we take care of our own transportation,
I see.
meals, lodging, and we never charge those we serve.
I see. And that's good to know, because when a person are in a desperate need, they may not have any money.
That's right.
And that's why they're desperate. If they have an emergency or something, and people don't realize that this is the opportunity, what you're offering there.
We do this, Frank, because we're Christians, and that's what Christians do. They
Interesting.
serve others.
Yeah. And now, let's say a church or a group wants to get involved and have a K-9 dog.
Then they would contact Rich.
Rich, they would contact you, and they would sign up. And I know that when our church wanted a K-9 dog, I think we had to answer some questions, and Sherry and I had to do an interview as a handler. As a caretaker, you came over our house, and my wife had to clean the house up and everything.
We do a lot of we do a lot of vetting,
Yeah,
And then we
vetting,
do a
yes.
background check.
Yes.
We sign
yes.
confidentiality
Yes.
statements, so when we go out, people
Yeah.
can trust that what they
Yes.
say to us
Yeah.
remains confidential.
Yes, and you know what I like about it is that you have 3 sections, one for veterans, one for the police, and one just for ordinary citizens
That's right.
that they could choose from. And because you may have a veteran, a policeman, and that's good. That's good. We're excited. My wife and I are excited to be handlers. They're you know, and so now they told us that when they're working, when an LCC Comfort K-9 dog is working, no treats, because they're working.
No treats when they're off either.
Yeah, no treats when they're off too.
We keep them on a very strict diet. We
Aye.
want to keep them healthy.
Strict
Yeah.
diet.
Yeah. But they can play ball. You take the vest off of this dog right now,
Yeah.
Ruthie, and bring out a ball, and she's a retriever.
Is she a retriever?
Oh, yeah.
And then when you're walking with the dog, they have to stay right by you,
Right at the seam of your pants.
right at the seam of your pants. No barking, no chasing. See? And so these dogs are trained. Now, how long did it take again to train a K-9 dog?
About 18 months or over 200
2,000 hours.
18 months. Oh, so they go through
And we get them at 8 weeks.
8 weeks there.
From-
And so this is what you're looking for, are trainers.
Yep.
They're, now, for a trainer, it has to be a couple, or can one person be a trainer?
One person, and
One
we'll match
person?
them up with another
You
person.
imagine-
Yep. And then they work with that dog, and then down the line, they may work with another dog and somebody else work with that dog, because the dogs have to learn to work with multiple people.
And then what facility do they have to go to do the training at?
Our training facility here in the Chicago area is in
Chicago.
Northbrook.
So if
Right
a
off the
person,
expressway.
if a person living in California wants to be a trainer, he comes over here, or
To be a trainer in California, we don't have a training center. We have one here in Chicago.
Okay.
We have one out in Grand Island,
Grand-
Nebraska.
okay, Nebraska.
For right now, those are our 2 training centers. We're looking to open up more, but that's where they are now.
I see. And how many trainers do you have then?
We have 6 professional
6
trainers.
professional trainers.
And
I
we need
see.
apprentice
Well,
trainers.
that's good. You know, I'm glad to have Ruthie here. Ruthie,
How about a sit?
thank you very much for being on our show. Ruthie, it was very nice conversing with Ruthie. See? and I think the public is going to really enjoy a comfort dog when they go out and meet with them.
And thank you, Frank, for what
thank
you're
you.
doing and awareness you're bringing
Yes.
to life issues.
Yes, life issues there.
Good job, Ruthie.